We always love having you here because you're one of the most plain-spoken people in all of Congress, and that's refreshing to all of us. This week, you've been pretty bold in talking about what's happening in Cuba, and the reluctance, it seems, from so many people on the left to call out the dictatorship of Cuba for what they're doing to their people.
It's been astounding to us to see that they're not stepping up and saying this is a communist regime. The people of Cuba have been under this authoritarian rule for 62 years. And it is astounding that you keep having the left say this is all about COVID vaccines. No, it is not.
Yeah.
This is a fight for freedom. This is a fight to push back on this communist regime. These people are starving. They do not have food, water, electricity. They don't have jobs. And they are ready to get out from under this rule and to experience freedom. That is why they're protesting. That is why they're in the streets waving the American flag.
That's very significant to note. These are people, they do love America, and they would love to have the freedom that we have. I find it interesting that we say we won't let these people come to the U.S. We won't give them asylum. But down on the southern border, even if you're waving some other flag and you hate the country and you don't have any real desire to love the country or the flag, come on in. I'm having a hard time processing that. Maybe, since you live in Washington, you can explain to me what they're thinking up there, because I don't get it.
Well, Governor, I live in Tennessee, and I come home every weekend and talk to my friends and neighbors and the people in this state. But I do work in Washington, and what they are doing, Secretary Mayorkas, with all of this gibberish about you can't come if you're from Cuba and you're facing oppression, loss of life, kids being ripped out of their homes, forced into the army. And I think part of it is because the Cuban people are very pro-America. They're very entrepreneurial. You can look at what is happening in Miami with the Cuban Americans who are standing up and fighting. And maybe these are folks that just don't fit the profile that the Biden administration is wanting to have come in.
I don't begrudge the people who want to come here. I really don't, whether they're coming from Cuba or Venezuela or Mexico or Honduras or Guatemala. But I think we all want them to come with a sense that they want to come to America, not just from some place. Recently, we've had a record number of people come across the border illegally, and rather than process them and do what was working, which was putting them on the other side of the border till they were processed, current administration says, come on in. And what we found is many of them have been flown in the dead of night all over the country, including to your state here in Tennessee. You've been very outspoken about, not that you don't love these folks, but this is a real problem when people are just dropped off in the middle of the country without any plan for how they're going to make it.
Or who is going to care for them? And they're going to these detention facilities. But what we have to realize is these individuals that have come across this border are traumatized. They've been physically, emotionally, mentally abused by the cartel, because the cartel is in charge of the southern border. So what the Biden administration is doing is transferring the cost of tending to education, health care, child services, social services, housing, transferring all of that to your local and state government. But they're not giving them any information or a heads up that they are bringing these people into these communities. This is why every town's a border town and every state is a border state until we get this southern border closed and until we know who is coming to our country.
And I think the fascinating thing that we always ought to be grateful for is that America is still a place where people are trying to break into. It's not a place where people are trying to break out of.
I tell you, I say this all the time. I've never met anyone that tried to break into China for the China dream or into Russia. I said the only person I knew that had tried to break into Russia was Bernie Sanders, who went there for his honeymoon. And
So true. Well, you know, it's just important that voices like yours are continually heard. What you're doing on trying to make big tech companies accountable
Right.
is really valuable to every American. Will we ever see these companies held to account for just throttling back the views of people they don't agree with?
We are working on it every day, and God bless President Donald Trump for filing that lawsuit against big tech. I was really pleased to see him do that. And today, this afternoon, I sent a letter to the White House after Jen Psaki said, well, they're reading some of these emails and trying to block this misinformation in their words. I said, well, who are the people that you're spying on? Who on the White House staff do you have doing this? How long have you been doing this? Who are you working with at the big tech companies? Because the American people deserve answers. The First Amendment is the First Amendment for a reason, and we have to keep it.
Absolutely.
And so we're going to continue to push back on big tech and hold them to account.
Well, thank you for that and all that you do.
And thank you.
Senator Marsha Blackburn, we are happy to have you here. And I want to make sure that you know you can follow the Senator on Twitter at Marsha Blackburn for her takes on the news of the day. And to learn more about what she's doing to fight for you as an American, whether you live in Tennessee or not, she's fighting for you.